watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Right, Chris.
All right. Good evening, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good night, goodbye. Hello. How are we all? The morning after 2 nights before. Well, one of us that's presenting tonight might have a bit of a hangover, but I'm on about the football, not the drinking. We seem to have gone into panic mode. There's no need to panic, Mr. Mannering or Pike or whatever it was the saying was. I'm too young to really remember it properly. Lost one game. Didn't play well. I wasn't there, so it's difficult to say. I didn't see the first half because LCFC.com wasn't working properly. I did see the second half. I thought it was a typical Maresca performance, but we haven't got the goals in us as yet. We weren't clinical enough, but we have to take a reality check. For me, I'm quite thinking, look, we've got the loss out the way now. Thank God in a way, because the longer it had gone on, my God, can you imagine if we'd gone 20 unbeaten and then lost one? We'd have had the whole of the family stand getting up and abusing people. It's one game, but look, it's Leicester Till I Die TV. We're going to be talking about that, and thank you for joining us via YouTube now. Only YouTube and Twitch. That's the only places we go live on. You can comment in the chat to the right, or as you look at it. Please do, though, keep it respectful. As we go through today's show, as it says below, we will have set topics that we are going to be covering, and we will not go to comments that are off topic because we want to stay on topic. Otherwise, the show goes on till about 4 a.m. But I will be starring certain questions that are out of sync that we can come back to at the end when we have a general add-all. We are hoping to have Craig join us later, who was actually at the match, so he can tell us more about it from being there. But we've got no Eagle Piggle, unfortunately. Dave can't make it tonight. So I'm left, talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm obviously the good one. What can I say? Let's welcome in the bad one. Kate, who's a lesser of two evils. How are you?
Oh, yeah, I was wondering where you were going with that.
I think Brad probably knew. How's the head?
Yeah, all right, thank you. All right. I got a bit of a nosebleed going that far north this weekend. The Leeds-Sheffield Wednesday vibe was definitely in the city of Leeds this weekend, even though it was a thrilling 0-0 draw. But, yeah, it was really good, thanks.
Well, it's a good job you didn't have your handbag or anything stolen, because, of course, the police wouldn't have had any leads to go on.
Very good.
Thank you. I'm here all week, unfortunately.
Sadly so.
Yes. Unless you pay me vast amounts of money and I'll go. So we've had the good, we've had the bad. It only leaves, yes, you've got it. Here he comes. It's the, hang on. There we go. We'll have a whole face between us, Brad.
No, I'll spare the viewers more ugliness. There you go. Can't see them ugly on here.
That's an improvement.
Sorry.
Brad, do you not think Kate's looking a bit white tonight?
She's looking all white on the night.
I've got a new webcam.
No, is that what it is? Is that what it is?
We had,
I asked
ladies and
him
gentlemen.
before, do I look really white? And he said I look a little anemic, which I think he was
I
just
never
being really
did.
dry.
I never did. I
absolutely
said, how
did.
can you improve on perfection? You know what I mean?
They thought that, but they weren't the words that came out.
They're not. I see. The gap between here and here, that's, or gap between here and here, there's nothing. But
Oh, yeah.
that was why we were a few minutes late, guys, because Kate was sort of sorting out her best position.
You also weren't ready. Let's not put it all on me. I'm going to get a reputation here.
She was early. Unlike Brad, made it at the...
I was fashionably late, mate, and it just shows it doesn't matter because you weren't ready. Kate was too busy getting into different positions for you. I can't believe what I came in to see. Disgusting. Shouldn't be doing this at this time of night.
Please, Brad, can you rephrase that? Because getting a positions ready for me. I'm not sure.
Can we start again?
Yeah, it's not live. It's not live. We'll edit out the first 7 minutes. It's all right, Kate.
No, nobody's watching anyway. I don't know why we're bothered. That is. We'll say a few hellos before we start. Scott's in. Morning all. He's obviously on Australian time. Hope you're all well. We are, Scott. Hope you are well as well. Terry, hi Scott. We'll leave the modding to you, mate. Okay. Okay, Joe. Everybody's saying hello. John. Evening, Chris. He says, "Who?" Okay. There. That is the question. To me, to you. Nate's in, all the way from America. Good evening, Nate. How the devil are you? Just saying, hopefully the loss will bring out more out of the squad during the international break. John says, so was I. Okay. Hi, Brad and Kate, he says.
Hi, John.
I can vouch for Brad. He was busy doing important things. Important things, though, Scott. His hair. That's not important. I don't think he's done his hair, to be honest with you. But
no, I've not today. I'll be honest with you. There's little bits giving off signals and trying to improve the Wi-Fi signal by having my hair stand up.
Look, hey, you've got hair. It's more than I have, so don't knock it. Hang on, I've lost all the comments. Rennie's in. Hello, Rennie. Boris is lurking. He says, "Oh,
right, keep that to yourself."
He said you meant to say yo. All right. Okay. You three.
There's two of us, but okay, good counting.
Well, all us three. I was including. It was the royal.
yeah.
Royalty. I was
good save.
Myself. I was including myself. And I wasn't expecting Dave to be here, in fairness. This is football, not PlayStation, Kate. That kind of put the fans in its place a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, I think some didn't like that tone. But yeah, I think he's just very straight talking, isn't he? You know where you stand with him. He's very black and white. And I think he's quite right. I don't think any of us thought we were in a PlayStation game, else we would have won the Champions League by now. I think he's got that a little bit exaggerated, but he is right. It is football. We were talking last week about when our first loss was going to be. So we've got it out the way now. So onwards and upwards. Indeed.
I mean, Brad, if this was PlayStation, and the way I used to play when I played PlayStation when I was a wee nipper, they did have PlayStation. I used to sort of, if I lost a game, I'd save it. So I'd win the game, I'd save it, and then if I lost the next game, I'd go back to my last saved position and play it again and carry on doing that till I won it. But then again, I did win everything that was on offer.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of us have all had their moments where we've got the perfect career, we've won everything, and I kind of get it. I don't think he's the first manager to use that phrase. I feel like someone like Pep or Klopp or Mourinho said that themselves a few years ago. I think he's recycled that quote, which is ironic because that's what PlayStation do with the games, is just recycle the same crap. But I'm not saying anything before getting console wars, but he does make a point. Like you said there, Chris, what were people expecting? Leicester just to keep scoring goals and winning games 2-1, 2-0, 3, whatever. game of football is real. A computer game is not. You know, I know some of us get involved in it too much and we take it as part of our life, but it's right. You can't just have everything your own way in the real life of football, and sometimes you're not going to score every chance you have. You know, you can't put football on easy mode. So yeah, I don't get why it rubbed people up the wrong way, because he was just making a very updated point, if you will, trying to get down with the kids and their slang, I guess, by referring to it as a game console.
I mean, for me, it's nice to hear it. You know, it's not okay. Yeah, right. It might have upset a few fans, but you know, let's be honest with you. Wokeness rules these days, doesn't it? You know, but it was a case of what. I mean, I was one of those that actually was saying, I want to get our first loss out of the way. It was all going too well, and I mean, can you imagine if we'd gone 20 games unbeaten and then lost one?
I would have preferred it though.
Sorry?
I would have preferred it though.
Would you though? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we're not saying that there wasn't going to be another team that was going to be up there with us, or another two or three. Up until the weekend, we thought Southampton could be one of those, but you know, what a shame for them. But I just think, great, that's it. The albatross is off our back. Now we can just get on with, you know, playing football.
Yeah, and it's kind of come at a good time, hasn't it? Because we've got a 2-week break now, where a lot of the players will be learning each other's names for starters, and hopefully get down to tactics, strategies, rotations, whatever it is they're going to be doing. So I think we were always likely to lose in that manner, where it was a little bit of a smash and grab and an unlucky deflection, if you know, to go into the back of the net. But we weren't hammered. We weren't clinical up front, which I think we've spoken about already this year. We were look a bit empty up front, but we did have quite a few chances. I've watched the highlights back today because I couldn't go to the game, and we did have a lot of chances. We had a lot of possession. We played some nice stuff at times. So it would be nice to have a couple of weeks now with a completely settled squad, window closed, and march on.
Brad, we've got he's just said there. I don't know what you're saying here about being timed out, etc. I'm not sure what you want about there. But he says Fatawu played like Messi. I mean, let's take a reality check here. He's played 45 minutes for football. He hit the post. He's not Messi. You know, he's not Ronaldo. He's what if I know we've fallen into this trap before. Dear Batty.
Yeah, we have. It's only 45 minutes, but if we're being perfectly honest with ourselves, he's the only one that had a shot of any note as well. I think it was the fact that he, you know, I said it, and I know he didn't get the man of the match from everybody else, and that's fine. They watched the game. I only could hear it. I understand that. But from what I heard of it, I would have gave it to Fatawu, because he was the only one that seemed to have any energy in that final third. He showed aggression. He got the ball. We looked dangerous when he was on it. Sounded like, you know, he was going forward attacking. One of you's has got something squeaking every so often, and it's not me, because I muted myself while you guys were talking and it went off. That's going through my ears.
And I know Kate's well oiled after the weekend, so I don't think
I can hear a little squeak now you've said that.
Yeah, it's sorry. It's just I hyper hear noises, and it's just one of them noises. It sounds like noise through chalkboard.
I can't hear a thing, but
you're probably deaf though. It's your age, mate. We'll let you off. Exactly. But you know, yeah, it is 45 minutes. Like you said, Diabate, Tete. We've all seen one game and then heard nothing from them. Let's hope that's not the case with Fatawu. It was a brilliant start to it. We compared him to Messi. Maybe start comparing him to Knockout if you're going through Leicester levels, and build him up that way before we get carried away with ourselves.
I mean, you know, he's only at Tete and understage at the moment, isn't he? Look how mad we all went about them after 45 minutes, you know. But Kate, this is we made, was it 9 signings, 8 or 9 signings in the window. There's players that have gone out. There's players that have been released. It's a huge squad turnaround, almost Forest-esque, if you like. it's going to take time for them to settle, to get to know each other and be able to play together. You bring Fatawu on, and yes, all right, he played well. Maybe that's says something about the rest of the team as much as him. But I just think, give them time. This was how Burnley did not start well. And they
Yeah,
literally, we're almost a carbon copy of Burnley, aren't we?
yeah, absolutely, completely agree. I think each new signing that has come in since the start of the season comes into a squad that is getting actively ready for the next fixture coming up during that week. So you haven't got a period of time like a pre-season where you can all settle. Whereas I think we've got that for the next couple of weeks now. We've got that at least for the next week coming up for those that aren't going on international duty, where we can just settle. Enzo can talk about his strategy, his philosophy, buying people into the concept before we start game prep again next week. So I think it's a really convenient international break for us. And Rome wasn't built in a day. We needed a clear out. We've got our clear out, and now we've got to build with all the new bricks. So
all I can say is bloody typical Polish builders. British builders would have had it built in a day. That's all I'm saying. Hey, I can stay here all week. Brad, I heard that squeak then. I've absolutely no idea where it's coming from at all. But yeah, Kate's got that. It's going to take that. It's going to take a while, isn't it? I say Burnley, new manager came in. Half the squad left. I can still hear.
Yeah.
New squad coming in. Took a while for them to gel, but once they gelled, boom, they were away.
Yeah, and there's no team in the world, not even Man City, not even PSG, no matter who you want to put up against it. I will tell you, if they got rid of a good chunk of their squad, I want to say about half of their squad. I know it wasn't all necessarily first teamers in like starting week in, week out players, but if any club out there had to get rid of all their squad, include a new manager, have a distorted pre-season due to some typhoon weather, make signings throughout the window. We're not talking getting it all out of the way in the first week. We're talking right up to deadline day, funny enough. And then you said to me, go and win 4 out of your first 5 games. I don't think there's many teams, probably not even, like I said, Man City or PSG, that would go and get that sort of outcome. They might be the only teams you'd expect it to, because it's a lot to ask. You're not just asking the guys that have stayed and are there to adapt to it. You're asking these new signings that come through the door 1 week after another to learn the language a little bit with some of them and adapt to a style of play and be ready for a level that they've never been tested at before. We're taking players that, I know the guy from Sporting Lisbon's played in for a while, and the Turkish winger played Champions League football, but the English game is hard to adapt to. So, there's a lot to be taken on. It's not just as simple as come in, this is what we do. Okay, boss, we can do that now. And it doesn't work like that. Judge Leicester on game week 18, around about that mark. That's where I want people to say, okay, now I can have the hump because it's not working, or weren't I silly for losing my F over losing 1 game to Hull? You know what I mean? It's patience. It's something we struggle to have in society these days, is patience.
The Leicester fans aren't well known for it. Kate,
No.
John says there, and I'll take his word for it, but we've actually got 6 more points at this stage than Burnley had. But that's the thing, isn't it? How long Burnley took to get things together, and then look what happened with them. Well, they don't look at them this season, of course, at the bottom of the league. Evening, Dan. But yeah, it's a 46-week season. There's 8 more games than we had last season, which, when you come to think, was almost a third of last season, if you like, in extra games. So there's plenty of time to go. It's that old saying, isn't it? It's a marathon, not a sprint. And look, would you not, if I'd have said to you, look, I'll give you a third on goal difference, which, we could be second, but a third on goal difference, the first international break, I'd have bitten, my hand off, let alone anybody else's, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you'd have, like Enzo said, if you'd have told us when we got relegated last year that 6 out of the 7 games we were winning, in the opening part of the season, I wouldn't have believed you, to be honest, because I was so worried about the exits. I was so worried about what we'd buy. We were all worried about money and financial freedom to go out and buy whoever we wanted. You've got to worry about our appeal. The appeal has dipped quite a bit now that we've gone back into the Championship. So I think we've done so well to get these points on the board early doors, because no one can take them off us now. We've got them. We've got the points that we needed, and we've lost one. There's tough competition, which I hope and believe that all of the squad knew there would be stiff competition. It's not going to be an easy ride. And it's a long old season, and a lot of these guys haven't played English football before. So we've got our work cut out, but I think they know that, because none of these games have been easy for us.
Brad, well, there's a bit of feedback somewhere, isn't there? Could be any of us. But
I tried muting and I could still hear it.
Should we just blame Eagle Piggle for not being here? I don't mean Dave. I mean just literally Eagle Piggle. He's not here. It's Eagle Piggle's fault.
let's just blame Dave. I'm happy with that.
Let's not leave Dave out of it. Let's blame him then.
Look, we've had this conversation, Brad, and I'm an old git. I'm not going to deny it. And I can remember when Kevin Keegan, here he goes again with his Kevin Keegan story. He went from Scunthorpe to Liverpool, and I think he spent the first 2 or 3 months in the reserves, as was then, before he even saw the first team. And that's just moving across the north. You've got players coming from other countries in leagues that play different styles, into a country where they've got no friends or family. Well, they've probably got family, but no friends. Teammates that they've never played with before, and they're being thrown onto the pitch. In 2 days of signing. Do we expect too much these days?
Yeah, we are. Like I said, impatience is the key word to the world of football or sport in general. People, I know that is. Don't worry, 2 seconds. Let me just. Oh, for God's sake, something's happening. Let me just deal with that.
This is live TV, folks.
Yeah, no, it's someone he does the same on here as he does on unfortunately the LCFC website. You know who it is, Chris, if you've seen it. But yeah, impatience it is. I mean, again, we're asking too much of a lot of people. I would love somebody to go in to any line of work and instantly just be like, oh, well, I want you to be perfect. I want you to be able to shack stalves like Tim here, who's been working 20 years. No, it doesn't work like that. You can't do any job, and I just use that for a simple job term, Nobody would expect somebody to be able to be perfect at the job and go with everything flowing from day one. If a 16-year-old apprentice was a lorry mechanic, oh, you can't build a truck up after today, mate. Well, you're sacked. No, you wouldn't do it. Why we have this bizarre feeling that these players can instantly play and get into a side and gel and be absolutely fantastic from the word go and never make a mistake absolutely baffles me. Because if you're living a life where you think you've never made a mistake, your head's somewhere else, and it's in the proverbial, to put it politely, because we're not at 9 o'clock.
To be honest with you, I see who you mean. I'm not going to give him any publicity.
No.
I haven't it hadn't even come up on my stream, so you were well in advance of me. Look, Hull walkovers. If you look, the 6th on that chart, so they're in 6th place. John's just said there, Hull have only lost 7 of their last 33 games, and I've looked at a few Hull YouTube channels since we lost, and they are over the moon at beating us. It's almost, and we said this, didn't we? This has almost been like Hull's FA Cup. Going to Leicester and beating them is wow. And I just want to read to you. This is what one Hull fan, and fair enough. I haven't deleted it or anything. Hull City FC, we're by far the greatest team the world has ever seen, and it's Hull City. And he's put that obviously on the Leicester channel's comments. But fair play to them. They deserved it. We're not talking. This isn't Sheffield Wednesday we've just lost to.
No, not at all. But I think even if we were playing Sheffield Wednesday, it is a possibility that we can lose to them if we're not got our heads on and we're not playing well. I think anybody in this division wants to come to the KP and take something off us, because I think people are bringing their A game, because it's an excitement. We're a big player down there. The same when the people go to Ellen Road, they'll think the same. It's an opportunity to play some players that are at an elite level, that have played in the Premier League, that have that approach to games, and they want to test themselves against it without pressure. That's the thing. The pressure will all be on us. So, there's a lot to live up to there. There's a lot of work that needs to go in to make sure that we don't lose silly games. And, fair play to Hull. They came and did a job. They're no easy feat at all. And they're sixth for a reason. I think they probably will be around that place by the end of the season. Well, you're on mute, Chris.
You're quite right. I went on mute to see if it was me that was whistling. Cool. No, well, it's one. I have no idea. VCN, I think it's pronounced on Twitch. Hi, just to say to everybody, we don't go live now on Facebook. We don't go live now on Twitter. We basically go live on YouTube and we go live on Twitch. Those are the only two places you can watch us live. I got fed up with having to keep reminding people to either stick the name at the end or do it, and I thought, there comes a point where I just can't be asked anymore, to be honest with you. Are we, Brad, looking? I mean, when I watched the game, and what I did see of the game, and finally the LFC link worked, I was looking and thinking, like, it is very much like Rodgers' style of play, and we're passing about to me to you, to me to you. Up until this weekend, we looked like we actually, though, had a plan about where we wanted to play the ball afterwards. But is it too similar to that style, do you think?
Look, it's got the similarities in the case of he wants to pass it out from the back. He wants to have them hold on to the ball. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because when you're holding on to the ball, first of all, the opposition, fully enough, they can't do anything. They can't score a goal. They can't do anything in regards to that. And second of all, you're not blindly going forward for the sake of going forward. And that was one of our biggest downfalls last season, was we would sometimes get into a state of panic. Shock horror, Leicester and panic last season, I know. But you would find that we'd give the ball away and go and concede a goal because we kind of get jittery, and then they'd pass the ball forward. And it'd be like, well, great, you've given it to Iheanacho, you've given it to Vardy, there's nobody around him, and he's lost the ball. Oh, here they come from bodies forward. We're in a division where a lot of teams are compact. A lot of teams, they know the skill level when they're playing a side like Leicester. And with the greatest respect, any relegation side from the Premier League that comes down usually gets the same treatment. It's compact, they're compressed, they're not going to make things easy for you. And you've got to learn to drag them out. You've got to learn to be patient in this division, because if you're patient, you get rewarded. And 4 out of 5, times this season, we have been rewarded with the patient. The biggest thing is, Chris, the difference between it is you never feel worried. We felt worried watching Leicester on the ball last season, because, like, God, if we don't get to the field and score now, we're going to lose this and they'll score. And we all know how the majority of it went for that season when that happened. Whereas here, apart from last week, because Hull were the only team to do it to us, and that was score early, we were calm, collective. We're going, this is nice, Leicester keeping the ball, not looking panicked on it. And even if they lose the ball, they don't look panicked. They just get back and they regroup and they go again. This is nice, lovely football. It's funny how it's the worst thing you've ever seen in your life when you lose one game. It does have similarities, but it isn't a bad style of play. We've just got a manager with a brain who knows how to get the best out of it, and the players that's managing us.
Yeah, I mean, Kate, I'm just looking at the stats here, and we are. Yes, I presume you've watched the highlights. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, we had 21 shots, and we only had one on target. And then you got people complaining that, we're taking all our shots of outside the box. We shouldn't be doing that, blah, blah, blah. And as I said on the post-match, Brad, if we hadn't, if Tielemans hadn't done that, we wouldn't have won the FA Cup. But, King is, Kate, they only had 7 shots. All right, 4 of those were on target. Their goal, and people are saying in the chat that, oh, there wasn't a deflection. I was tagged and said there was a deflection, and that's I can say it wasn't like we got battered.
No, not at all. I think it's just one of those games where you can come away and not really be quite sure how you've lost it. But it's just the rub of the green sometimes. Like Nacho had a decent chance, Vardy's header went close, KDH had a really good chance, Ricky P had a really good Ricky P range shot that just went over. He'll be disappointed. He was really disappointed not to hit the target. I think we had those opportunities. I think Cassidy went close in the final stages. We did have some decent chances that we just weren't clinical enough in front of goal, and we paid for it. But that's sport. Like, Man United will probably be feeling that a bit today, getting a goal ruled out, and you can just spin like that and you can come away with nothing, and that's just sport for you sometimes.
Is it not PlayStation though, Kate?
It's not PlayStation, it's just the reality of sport.
No, you said that's sport, so I was just being...
Yeah, exactly.
And if I can just kind of add quickly, and I mean quickly here, Chris, I will be, on the end of it, you say the stats there, right? I may be wrong with the numbers here, but I'm pretty sure Leicester have gone 5 games in the league with 20 plus shots. When was our last season? What were we asking for? We were asking for shots. We probably didn't get 20 shots throughout 7 or 8 games at one point. So, like Kate said, we had a bad day in front of goal. In other days, we're going to have 21 shots, and we're going to, like we said before the game, one day we're going to turn someone over 4, 5, 6-0 doing it. You're not going to keep having 21 shots and missing the target. It's going to come good. I mean, 5 games, 20 plus shots. Must be. Each game has had 20 odd shots.
I just want to read some of the comments.
Friday.
She's got it.
Craig's in, and we're going to bring him in a second. But I just wondered, these are some of the comments that went on my final score post on Facebook. Neil Chester said, charged, changed good chunk of players and manager with a new style that takes a while to bed in. Watch the Burnley documentary. They took 2 to 3 months to click. It's the same system as then in the Championship and Arsenal and many others. Need chemistry and bravery. Patience is a virtue. Tony said, rubbish to watch again. Lisa said, let's face it, none of our performances leave you thinking we are good. It's been awful to watch, but up to today, the results have gone our way. It's just all too slow and predictable. Angus, it's been coming. Craig, no end, not our Craig Gilbert, no end product. Enzo said we're going to lose sometime, so what's next? Peter Baxter, false 9 doesn't work, ask Mr. Lineker. Yeah, he's the best manager in the world, isn't he? And Robin, toothless, shooting blanks at stubborn tigers. I mean, I just don't know what fans want.
Oh, it's a bit dramatic, isn't it? I can't ever comment that when you've won 6 out of 7, how can you say it's awful? It's nothing like last season in terms of feeling and watching it. It's nothing like last season at all. And football can be a bit predictable at times because it can be ploddy, it can be methodical, it can be pedestrian paced round the back. That's football. Like, that's just how it can go, and it tends to be more and more the thing to play out from the back, Pep style, and gradually build up to the goal. I think the end-to-end stuff that you used to see in the 90s is perhaps a little bit of a thing of the past, because people just want to protect the draw a bit as well, because they know how lucrative these football leagues are. So I'm not feeling that way at all. I'm just thinking we're going to get beat. I want it to be a lesson that we learn. I want it to be proof that it's not going to be a walk in the park for us. And I don't doubt any of the team's commitment. Like some of the newbies, like Mavadidi, players like that have come in absolutely hot as anything and got off on the right foot. But it's an unknown for us. We're in a league that we've not been in for a decade, with loads of teams down there who are pretty tough to play against, and it's just a different it's just a different manner now than the Premier League. I think people just have to get used to that. But awful is something I cannot get on board with. It's not been awful at all.
Craig, good evening, sir. And just as I bring Craig in, it looks like he's been banished to the outside by the missus as well. I got to bring Terry's comment up just for you, Craig. We would not have lost it. We still got Maguire and Evans at the back. I think you're doing a little bit of a wooden spoon stirrer there, Terry. Craig, look, you were there. You probably were in. You heard the comments I was reading off the Facebook page. I mean, we're going to get relegated, aren't we?
First of all, hi everyone. Hi guys.
Hi.
Kate, you were talking a little bit too much common sense there. Please remove yourself as a Leicester fan. Yeah, I mean it's ridiculous, isn't it? Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I've been to all but one of the league games. So I didn't go Rotherham, but I've seen the others at home.
You Gurinder, you.
I was just about to say Gurinder.
Yeah, I refuse to go to Rotherham. But I went to Huddersfield. Yeah, it's not been free flowing at all. But to all of those who are coming on and making those comments, these are the same people who wanted Sean Dyche. How's that going? You know, I don't think that's going particularly well. That old school football, you know, as Kate was saying there, that those days have gone, unfortunately. I was watching some matches over the weekend, watching Arsenal, whatever. They're all doing the same as we are. They've just got better players at the moment who can turn that possession into more opportunities. What I would also say is it's about having the right players on the pitch at the right time as well. And if you take that game at the weekend, yeah, we had a lot of shots on target. Off target. We had a lot of shots. We created more chances. I think we played better than we have in either of the other games at home, to be honest, or in any of the games probably that we've won. But we just didn't convert chances. But if you looked at the last 20, 30 minutes, when you had Mavididi on the pitch, you had Fatawu on the pitch, you had Cassidy on the pitch, they were the ones who are going to make this work. They're the ones who are the bright sparks. They're the ones who have got the creativity to make this kind of possession work. And we had a real good go at them. We just couldn't convert it, didn't create. We created one chance, I think, clearly for Cassidy, but he didn't put it away. But all the doom merchants, I mean, what is it, 46 games? I don't know. I've lost track of how many games you play in this division these days, but it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we're third on goal difference.
Yeah.
What do people expect? Seriously.
Well, I got a lot of Craig, and a few people. They know who they are. I'm not going to mention names, Boris. But they kept saying that they basically want to go back to the Claudio Ranieri end-to-end stuff, counter-attack and what have you. But times move on, don't they?
Well, they don't, and sadly, to do that, you need the ball. And in this day and age, we're 5-6 seasons on from that. You don't get the ball turned over as much as you used to be honest. And that's a very specific way of playing. And we had everybody on point on that one season. I'm not sure that can be replicated. I don't think you can be as consistent playing that kind of football these days. Don't get me wrong. I would like it to be a little bit quicker. I would like us to sometimes mix it up. There were opportunities to play, in particular when teams are pushing up. There are opportunities to play over the top, switching the play like Arsenal, like Liverpool do. You can mix it up. But as Enzo said himself, and as you guys have said, we're a couple of months into a project. You're not going to get it up and running straight away.
But we're Leicester fans. We expect it, don't we?
Well, we're Leicester fans that have been around a little bit longer than some of the others. I occasionally look at some of the tweets and then click on their bios, born 2001, Yeah. You need to say no more, to be honest,
We are we not? And I'm going to say hi to Zani, number 24 there. Obviously, Galatasaray fan. He's popped in. You are most welcome, sir. Can I just say, I was speaking to a fan, Galatasaray fan, during the watch along, and I think, we got Eunice, you got Tete. I think we got the better deal, to be honest with you, because the guy wasn't too impressed with Tete at Galatasaray. But there's one bad Brazilian, and we found him. But Brad, we're turning into Arsenal fans, aren't we?
Yeah, and it's getting really annoying. I think I know I always say that every set of clubs, every club. I'll get my words straight and right in a minute. Every club
you know what you
has.
always say. You always
I
say.
know, right? I try and
it.
say two things at once, and it never works out for me. You think I'd learn, but I don't. Every club has a set of fans that always doesn't say a word, right? Because if we'd have smashed Hull 5-0, these people wouldn't have said a word. They'd have had a drink with the mates and gone, "Oh, my team's awesome, my team's awesome." They wait, and they won't. They'll be completely mute until it goes wrong or it doesn't quite work out. And just like that, as if by magic, they all flock to the keyboards going, "Mah, we lost, mah, it's awful." And it's like, for God's sake, get a grip of yourself. It's ridiculous. You know what? Go and play your PlayStation, because at least then you'll be happy with life. Because football is not for you, my friend, if this is how it makes you after one defeat in 5 games. Well, 7 in total.
Yeah. Kate, I'll put it up there. Rob Tanner. Now, just to say to everybody that we were due to have Rob Tanner with us tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. We're going to be going through all the signings, all the outgoings, and, of course, the players that didn't go anywhere at all. Unfortunately, he's had to go down to St George's Park tomorrow night, so he's not sure if he will be back in time. It's a hard life, isn't it? So, Rob, that has been rearranged now to Thursday. So we'll be having Rob on here for the Transfer Show special review on Thursday night at 7. So I thank him for his honesty and a lovely guy, not just letting us down. As soon as he knew, he told us. But what he's also said here, Leicester City are shaping up to have the best squad in the Championship. And what he said today is Leicester signings will be judged in May, but Marquez's foundations are in place. That is very true, isn't it, Kate?
Yeah, I don't really know what more we could have done. I think Rob's always quite honest and fair with his assessment of stuff. And I think he's done that again here. We can't get too hung up on 7 games in. He doesn't dictate the season, good or bad. It's a very unsettled squad during that time. Comings and goings, Strops, tantrums, I'm sure, behind the scenes. Maresca's probably had a lot of noise in his ear during his early months up here. So now that the door's closed and we can settle down, like people like Ndidi, those sort of mainstay players that I think he was hoping to keep have been kept, and we can just push on and we'll see what happens in May.
Yeah. Before we move.
Oh. I think he's frozen.
Chris frozen.
No, I think that was me. I think that was me.
Yeah,
Yeah, we all disappeared at once. Then I have too many windows open. That's my problem.
It's hot.
Close them, the flies can't get in.
It is hot.
Chris.
Boom.
Chris, can you just close that window to your soul, please? I'm not sure. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
No, you wouldn't, to be honest with you. That window is firmly bolted, and it's got iron bars in front of it. You'll never see it. So I can close some of these windows, and we can move on. I just want to do this with you, Craig. Former Leicester City winger Matt Piper, who does the When You're Smiling podcast for BBC Radio Leicester, has been mulling over the Foxes' first defeat of the season on the When You're Smiling podcast. It is really interesting one for me because you can see the game in 2 different ways. Either you can think they were nowhere near good enough and deserved to lose, or that they had an improvement in the second half, created 21 chances and 1 hit the target. That's the story of the match for me. It is all about timing, though, isn't it? It is all about these new signings have got to settle in. And when you look at the standard of the signings that we've made, I wouldn't have thought any of those would have been coming to Leicester when we've just been relegated.
No, I think, I'm not sure we have the best squad, but we definitely have, one of the best squads. It does need to gel. I thought Yunus looked nervous, didn't really want to take his man on, whereas Fatawu just couldn't wait to take his man on, to be honest. He looked like one of those players who will gladly beat him 3 times and then come back and have a 4th go. But what I would say is that I think we definitely have enough players there to be able to challenge all the way through the season. It does take a little bit of time, and I think once it settles down, when the window's shut, although I see, we're linked with another departure today. Our dear friend Vestergaard is the subject of some transfer speculation, because I think the Belgian window is still open for another 3 days.
It isn't it? It's not happening. It's not. I am not allowing it to happen. I am going to go in and I'm going to do a misery on him. No, Kate. I'm going to sort of tie him to the bed. He's not going anywhere, is our Yannick. But no, it is a fair point. We'll come on to that in a second. But yeah, as 1 or 2 players could still actually leave. But yeah, I can say I still think though, the fact that some of these players have come to us and the managers have let them come to us when the loan ones. I'm thinking of Cashaday and what have you. He could have gone to Italy. I think it does say a lot about Leicester, Craig.
Yeah, it does. I think the manager has got some kudos behind him. Managers trust their players with him. I thought we might get 1 or 2 more, to be honest. But I guess that may have been. We may have needed to chip a few more out for that to happen. But you could definitely see, particularly in the last 20 minutes, it's like the pace of play improved. We were getting the ball to the wingers quicker. We were getting more bodies forward. So I think that's a sign of better things to come. I think we just need to settle a little bit. I mean, Dewsbury Hall has been poor, to be honest. Had a couple of fair chances in the first half to at least hit the target, but was snatching at things. So I think they just need to settle down a bit now with the window shut. This week, with those who are not going away, I think will help. I know we're going to lose a few to internationals, but I think the rest of them who can settle down. Cody will be back, and as I said, we talked about before. Gives the manager a little bit of a dilemma. I didn't think Doyle was particularly good. I must admit. He was selling himself a lot, to be honest. It's far too easy for the winger to cut inside on him.
I don't know if anybody else is.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of an echo. But yeah, I'll move on. Let someone else speak who's not echoing.
Yeah, I want to go on to Brad. Because it won't let me unmute him. Can you unmute yourself? I think you've muted yourself, Brad. I done it because I thought
it was me with the echo, and I think yeah.
And I thought the same, and that's why I muted you, but it wasn't. I mean, Tom Cannon has joined us, and he's supposed to be a really good shooter. Come on. You've got to pay for this entertainment.
I've heard it's a bit loose.
Let's hope he's not like you and firing blank.
I've heard it's a bit loose.
Oh, for God's sake!
Can I just say I am firing blanks because I've had the snip. But let me just say, he's come.
Too much information.
No, Craig took me down that road. I did not want to go down that road. He dragged me down. But Brad, I mean, Tom Cannon, he came on the recommendation of Cody, and Cody's only been here 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, you take it, wouldn't you? It's a last ditch signing. It's It made me wonder because I thought with Daka's loan falling through, it meant we weren't going to get him. And then, of course, at about 1:45 Leicester announced it, and it all came through. It's a good signing, it seems. Everton fans aren't happy that he's gone. They're thinking, sick note, Calvert-Lewin's out injured for another few weeks and whatnot. So, I know they brought that Gary Boldy or whatever his name is, but he only scored one goal against some 92nd place team in the English league. So they're a bit miffed that he never got the chance to kind of, take over the striking role there. So I'm happy to have him. And again, it's another player that's got to get embedded in. I do wonder, though, with the Belgium leagues, I'm not sure what the laws are. I'm pretty sure we can still send him. Would that maybe be a place where Daka goes then? You're muted again, mate. You've muted yourself.
I've muted everybody, sorry. And I think, actually, Kate, it could be you. You were the last one I muted and it stopped echoing. Or is it still echoing now? Is it still echoing now, Brad?
I can't hear any echoes now.
I think it might be Kate. But yeah, the Belgian window is open till the 6th of September and they can still make sign-ins. So we can sell, but we obviously can't buy. I believe.
Can we not loan to our sister club though with Daka or something like that? Because I can't see him being playing. Is what I meant.
We'll come on to that. We will.
See, he's always thinking. He's thinking.
Kate. Oh, it is you, Kate. Because as soon as I put you back on, I get an echo from you.
What? I don't know how that's happened. What happens?
Oh, you
moved rooms, Kate. It's your fault.
This is ridiculous.
No, well, we will carry on regardless.
It's usually me with the echo, Kate. I feel your pain. Don't worry.
Anyway,
makes me miss my pet lizard. I used to have a lizard. No, that joke's gone out the window.
I'm going to remind you of your pet lizard.
There was a joke coming then, and there wasn't. Vestergaard going. Would you still let him go, Kate?
Let him go. I'd give him the keys to the door so he could let himself out and close it and post the keys through the letterbox. But he's done all right.
Kate, honestly, I'm not having it. I don't you be having to go at the Great Dane.
A Great Dane would be better. No, he's served a purpose for us, hasn't he? He's served a purpose for us.
Yeah, I asked you this the other day, so I'm going to ask you again. He's got a contract. He's up at the end of this year. Would you let him go, or would you offer him an extension? We have got the likes of Suter.
Well, hopefully we'll be getting promoted, so we'll be able to buy somebody who is worthy of a Premier League defensive position and wage bill. Maybe we can sign Johnny Evans at the end of his year from Man U.
Well,
I'm joking.
I would say that would please Craig. He is a big, huge Evans fan, and I'm sure he's upset. Or even get Ryan Bertrand back from Chelsea.
To be honest, I'd be quite happy moving Doyle over alongside Farce and bringing JJ in on that side. Might give us a bit more dynamism, I think.
But Craig, he's asking here, Inacho and Ndidi contract out in June. Cover your eyes, Brad. Will they go in January?
To be honest, I think it depends how we're doing. If we're looking like we're in good shape for promotion, it would then depend whether they want to sign a new contract, whether we want them to sign a new contract, or the stature of the clubs that are coming in for them, to be honest. Because if it's someone who's struggling and looking like they're going to be wrapped up in a relegation battle, it doesn't really make sense for them to move to that standard of club. So I think it depends on on a number of things. And I mean, how much are we likely to get with 6 months or less than that on a contract? I'm not sure, to be honest. I think if we're up there and challenging, it makes more sense to just bite the bullet for what we would get for them and take that money by getting promoted.
but it looks like Daka's going to be the one that we is going to be surplus to requirements, because he was one that was nearly out the door anyway.
Yeah, I think Brad made a very good point about
No, he
the
did.
fact that
He never makes a very good point. Don't say that. He'll want a pay rise.
but yeah, there is that option, and that may be an opportunity for him to at least be playing regular football up until the window opens again, and maybe if he's playing well, he comes back in. But you would think he would be the one who's surplus to requirements now with Cannon coming in.
Yeah, John, I don't know what you mean now. Talking me a bad influence. How very dare you, sir? How very dare you? Just looking here, Brad. And we're going to talk goalkeepers, and we'll talk to you because you were a member of the Goalkeepers Union a long time ago. And I've lost the question now, so just bear with me a second. It was a question that Scott asked earlier. Do you stick with the goalkeeper? Apparently, Palace came in at the last minute with an offer for Everson.
Well, whether that's true or not, I don't think it matters really.
Leicestershire Live, mate. Of course, it's true.
Oh yeah. Leicestershire Live's well reliable. Yeah, they don't copy and paste the same pointless homework.
Leicester City rejected an offer from Crystal Palace for goalkeeper Daniel Everson before the end of the transfer window, according to reports in Denmark.
Yeah, and my great grandmother's pet cat also once bumped into Ronaldo. So, which story is more likely? Danish, who sticks to the pastries in the story making.
I'm more interested in
a bike, as they say.
I'm more interested in the point that Scott's trying to make there. Do we stick with the goalkeeper? What is he talking about? Switching and putting Everson back in, or what?
Yeah, because if that's the point he's making, then no, we clearly stick with Madsen. Madsen's number one. Yeah, he hasn't done anything wrong. And the thing is, how is he not going to be the number one? He was signed by Enzo. Enzo looked at his goalkeepers, and he's actually decided the under-23s goalkeeper is the second best choice we've got for how he wants a goalkeeper to be. It's why Stoichek has played. You know, we all looked, didn't we? Was it Huddersfield? I think it was Huddersfield where Madsen couldn't play, and we all went, now then. You know, we all kind of went, now then, is this where Iverson gets his chance and really puts in the cat amongst the pigeons and really stirs up a fuss for the number one spot? And we all saw the lineup and went, Stoichek? Okay. You know, we kind of let Burton off because it's Burton. You kind of want to give a youngster a chance to play. We didn't read too much into it. But when we saw Stoichek, it was like, and that for me was it. Done deal. There's your number two. We know who number one is. So Madsen's going to be number one. Stoichek's number two. Am I surprised we didn't lose one or both of Ward and Iverson? Yeah, especially Ward, with the greatest respect. I don't think Iverson did too much wrong. You know, Chris, me being a former goalkeeper and part of the union, I was under the impression that was an area we wouldn't need to sign. You know, having Iverson, and despite what happened last season, how well he played, because realistically, you know, he didn't do a lot wrong at all during that struggle of the last quarter of the season that he was in charge, number one for. So, no, don't change it. You can't challenge.
Coming to you on the goalkeeper side, is it, do you think, because suddenly we lost Stow, the goalkeeper coach, who's been there almost as many years as I've been on the planet? I mean, you know, he has been sort of, and he's been a great servant to the club. I was pleased to see Sadler go, because I think he was next to useless. The next to useless that he was Brendan Rodgers, though. But Stow, you know, he's been a constant. But do you think had he not gone, do you think, you know, then we might have still been deciding between Ward and Everson? Was it the fact that we had a new goalkeeper coach come in that actually, you know, took a new look and took a look at it with different eyes and go, actually, we need somebody different in. Because when I've seen, the team play, or it's on telly, Madsen's right up almost in the centre circle at points, which I think is the sort of goalkeeper that Enzo wants.
Yeah, I think Mike's obviously has been a great servant. But as with anything with these things, time just moves on and you need to have the most modern, up-to-date approach. And I don't think I'm speaking out of turn when I think Casper was starting to get a bit stale. I think the mistakes that we were making at set pieces and from goalkeeper perspectives, from his distribution as well, it was the same old. There was no improvement. There was no real coaching going on. The set pieces were a joke at times. There was a period where it was an actual joke. You thought you were watching children. So I don't think there's anything wrong with just wanting a changing of the guard. He was there over 20 years, wasn't he? 23, 24 years, something like that. And you've had your moment in the sun and it's time to move on, fresh ideas, working with youngsters. And when he first came, he was recently retired, and you're so fresh out the game and you have a lot in common with the youngsters that you're training. Whereas as time goes on, the longer you're out the game, it's very different for a goalkeeper now, and how, like you said, how you play and how you integrate with the outfield players is totally different. We're not sort of talking Bruce Grobbelaar era anymore. It's totally different to that. So yeah, changing of the guard's always fresh to me, and it's always a comfort blanket though, isn't it? When something goes wrong, you revert back to your comfort blanket of, we'll get him back in. I think we're a bit like that with Casey Keller. We'll get Casey back, or let's have Casper back. And that's just a comfort blanket knee-jerk reaction when things go a bit wrong, really. But it's not. Yeah. You just got to have confidence and move forwards with it.
Don't you bring my Casey Keller into us? He was the idol. He was the reason I became a keeper, Kate. Don't you dare disparage my Casey
We're not hearing. I'm not hearing any of that. You were muffled through all of that, Brad.
Was I?
Yes.
Oh, well. I was saying, don't you dare besmirch my Casey Keller. He was my idol growing up, and the reason I became a goalkeeper.
You know something? Kate's the newest member of the team here.
Things move on. Time moves on for all of us.
Bring Casey Keller back.
She's upset you with Keller. Yeah, honestly.
You can't get the staff these days, can you, Chris?
You can't. We're a team here, Kate. Don't be upset with everybody.
Shots fired.
Casey. I love Casey. I want him back now.
Let me rely on my wise old owl. Okay, Everson's been, apparently Palace have come in. Apparently he can go, or we can sell anybody, apparently, to the Turkish, the Saudi, or the Belgium leagues. Where they're different to everybody else, God only knows. But they're the three leagues, apparently, that can still buy players. You would have thought with the position we're in, 5 goalkeepers, we don't need 5. Now, whether we keep Ward or whether we keep... Because Smithies is injured, but he's, he is literally... He is the Jupokovic of the current season, isn't he? But, I just don't see... If we've had an offer made, get rid to get off the wage bill, because that's what we've got to be careful of.
It is, but it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because then, do you then, just take any old offer that comes along? I mean, you have to have a value of your players if somebody wants to chance their arm, because they ended up with Henderson, so I don't think they got him particularly cheap.
No.
If somebody comes in with a silly offer, you're not just going to give it away because you want to get rid of them.
Under normal circumstances, no. But obviously, we're not in normal circumstances this season, are we?
No, we're not. But we're one goalkeeping injury away from needing him to at least be on the bench. I would have thought Ward would have been the one to go, but clearly his wages have been bumped up so much by his last contract that he was put on that nobody wants to come in for him. But what I would say, it also shows you a little bit of insight into the world of a modern footballer as well, because we all say, when transfer opportunities come, we all say, the players should show a little bit more loyalty. We've played this, that, and the other. It also shows you how quickly things can change with a new manager. Ward was an international keeper playing in the Premier League, going off to the World Cup or Euros, wherever it was. He now finds himself 4th choice at a championship club. So sometimes I don't think you can besmirch players taking opportunities when they come along, because we've just seen how quickly it can change for them. Obviously, he's not struggling. He's still on a pretty packet, but he couldn't have. I'm sure he couldn't have foreseen the way his career was going to go over the last 12 months.
Indeed not. Brad, just reading here again. Enzo McCott. Oh, hold on. Let me press the right thing. There's so many different stories that they've got going. We can get rid of. We've done Vestergaard going to Anderlecht, haven't we? Enzo offers reset lifeline to Leicester City players after transfer near misses. If you're Sutar and you've not even been making the bench for most games, are you not going to be in like a position of, well, you know, he was first choice at Stoke. He went to a Premier League team. He's come back down again. Now he can't even get on our bench. Has he got a chance of getting in, or is that chance only going to appear maybe if Vestergaard does move on?
I mean, all the players that have been kept after this transfer window closed, I know obviously Turkey and that are still open, but I can't imagine any moves are going to happen unless, like I said, it's a loan move to our sister club in Belgium. So I think everybody's entitled to have a chance. Enzo gave the whole entire squad a chance to impress and work their way back in. I mean, me and Kate are still, you know, bewildered at the fact that Vestergaard's been given a chance, let alone played every game this season for us. So he's obviously there. You know, your love child is in there. So it is. But you probably used the wrong player for me to kind of say, well, did he deserve a chance? Because no, Suter seems like a person who's got a stick up his arse. I mean, Brendan Rodgers brought him in, then he stopped playing him. You know, Dean Smith said he was too tired to play 2 games in 7 days. And even with all the love and the change of hearts by 6 or 7 players under Enzo, he still seems like the mighty child. So does he warrant a chance on that? None of them, you know, talks to be true, but everything else, yeah, Daka, everybody else, if they're good enough and train hard enough and they can adapt over these next 3 weeks, why not?
Well, I'm going to come on to you, Kate, about Daka, because he's the second player that has been linked under this reset, if you like, Sutar and Daka. Is there a future for him at Leicester?
If that 75 appearances fee is true, then probably not. I don't think we'd want to bump an extra 5 million out of the bank account for somebody who's had his chance. Daka is such a mystery, isn't he? Because I mean, what did he score? 4 goals in that European Conference match, and you can't believe. I think he scored 9 in total in like 74 appearances. I don't really know. I feel like there is a player in there, but I don't think he's hard enough for the English leagues. I don't think he's tough enough. I don't think he's resilient enough. So I personally don't think he has a future, but I think he's a nice guy. I think he probably trains well. I think he's respectful, and that's probably why Enzo's just said, put yourself out there, lad, try and get yourself a move. And unfortunately, it's not worked for him. But if he's staying with us till January, never say never. We may have injuries. Cannon may not be firing. I actually didn't mean to say that. So I don't know. I think he's the type of player that probably trains well, is respectful, but I just don't think he's got enough bite for what we need. You're
going to have one of these, Kate. I'm sorry if I can find it, which I can't. There we go.
Boom.
Yeah, there you go. Craig Christensen, Sumare moved on. Christensen set up 1 goal in his 14 Leicester City appearances last season. I'm not reading this at all. I know this at the top of my head. First game in Italy against Claudio's team, he set up 2.
Yeah. I liked Christensen. I must admit, I was a little bit sad to see him go of all of the ones who have moved on, apart from the obvious ones that we knew weren't going to move on. I liked him. I liked his enthusiasm, his exuberance, his desire to just get up and down there. I'm surprised he didn't really get a chance. All you can think is that when it comes to training, he's not good enough with the ball in terms of keeping possession. You know, maybe he's a player who looks forward too quickly. You know, and that won't do.
Do you
Maybe
do you think,
you
Craig,
know.
that look, we look at these when players move on. We look at what we've let go. He's gone to Italy, which is a different type of he's come from, where did he come from? Belgium. He's
Mhm.
come to England. Now he's gone to Italy. Different leagues suit different players, doesn't it?
True. I don't think we saw that much of him though. I mean, he got the injury. I mean, I went to away at Villa when we beat them. Was it 4-2? And he was great. I think it was his debut. His family was there. He looked like he was loving life, happy to be here. It just all went a little sour very quickly. It could have been one of those that we needed to get some people off the books, and there were better offers for him than others. But yeah, just disappointed to see him go. But I mean, the good thing is it's only a loan deal, and I don't know if I don't think there's an obligation to buy, but there may be an option. So either way, he comes back or we get some decent money.
Sumari Brad wished Leicester City fans and the club well, saying, "Dear fans, I wanted to thank you for the support despite the last difficult season we spent." It's just a case, isn't it, that some moves just don't work out.
Yes, sometimes they don't work out. Sometimes a bellend signs you and asks you to play a position you're no good at, and not where where you've helped a team win a championship. Sometimes it's a lot of things that stop a player shining. I was one of them that I was rooting for him, and I thought he looked very good. Once he got a steady run in the team, he kept improving week in, week out. I just think, unfortunately, he's one of them that's maybe suffered from a gross depth of talent pool we've got at Leicester in his position, or at least in that chunk of midfield. Obviously we've added to that with the likes of Cassidy and that signing as well. But we had Wilfred Ndidi, we had Chowder, we had Dewsbury Hall. So it was always going to be difficult for him to get in there. I mean, the fact that it took so long to get him out the door, in a sense, kind of tells you that this is the difference between these players. Because he's still young. I think Craig hit the nail on the head. Christensen is 20 or 21 or something like that. He's very, very young. So he offers a lot. He's more enticing to want to try and loan in and see how he does and get him off the wage bill and whatnot. Then Sumari, who's a few years older, been around a bit longer and not really played over these last 2 years. It's a bit harder to get them out the door. So I'm glad that he's gotten to go and play for Seville and get some first team football. It's a shame, isn't it, that it's just one of them that never really clicked. And his was a loan deal, wasn't it? It is a season loan. There's no option to buy, though, is there? So
I think it was a loan. Yes, yeah.
I think.
I know that.
Yeah, sorry, Brad.
Yeah, I was just going to say. So who knows? Maybe it's the decision of going, look, I've got too many cooks in this position. I need to release one of yous out there. You're last on the list, I'm afraid. Go out and impress me, and we'll see next year, depending on where we are and where players stand with their contracts.
He gets to play because his match was called off due to rain. But Kate, I'm going to point this one in your direction. Scott said here, after watching Alves last season in the first team, do you see him or anyone else from the development squad getting game time? But we already are we not?
Yeah, we absolutely are. Yeah, we've seen some newbies come through that are giving some game time that Brendan wasn't interested in. So McAteer and Nelson. With Alves and Braybrook as well, they're both on ACLs, so it just depends how they come back from those injuries, which I'm hoping should be imminent. I think they both did them around the turn of the year, so you'd like to think by Christmas they might be in the flow of things again with the development team. But it's really, I mean, if they come back as what they were, I can't see any reason why not, because from what I understand, they were the two brightest sparks.
and he's not scared to give the youngsters a chance, Enzo, is he? I mean, like you say, Marchell and McAteer. I mean, and they're not done bad since when they came on, have they?
No, not at all. Did he feature at all on Saturday, Marchell?
No, I don't think he did.
No, because he's kind of, since he scored, he's kind of been left out again, hasn't he? But
oh no, Marchell. Well, I'm not fair. Did you know, Craig? You were there.
Yeah, I think he's playing kind of tough with some of these players. You might be in, but I don't want you getting ahead of yourself and sort of keeping them in their place. But I think definitely with Alves and Braybrook, I think there's, if they can come back, they're young enough. If they can come back at the levels that they were, then I think we've got two real talents coming through. I mean, that Alves injury was an absolute shocker, to be honest. And I've told a few people about it, that there is some footage of him in that game. There's about 5 minutes of basically him just running rampant in that game. I'm surprised it took Wolves that long to nail him, to be honest, because he was making them look silly. So I just hope that he can come back at that level, and I think we've got two real stars on our hands.
Yeah. I want to throw this one again. I'll stick with you for this, Craig, because you were there, although it is a goalkeeping one, Brad. But Craig was at the match. And I just want to throw this out to Craig. Boris, who I'm sure, having read the fact that Kasper Schmeichel is available, will probably be begging him to come back so he can team up with Vardy again. But Manson's tight little passes around the penalty box look very risky to me. It's bound to cost us a goal or two. But I think it's not, you're blaming, and I might get this wrong, Craig, so do correct me if I'm wrong, but surely this is what Enzo is telling him to do.
Yeah, that's what he's bought him for, to be honest. I think it's up to the goalkeeper to choose the right time and right personnel to pass it to, and maybe have a think about what that player is going to do next with the ball. And it's not just us. I think virtually every team that plays that well is going to give away 2 or 3 goals over a course of a season. I mean, we nearly saw it yesterday with in the Palace game. They should have scored when the ball was nicked away from, I can't remember who it was, but very early on in that game, they stole the ball. It's going to happen. It's the nature of the beast. I don't particularly like it, I must admit. I'm a little bit old-fashioned, as go and play in their half as quickly as you can for me. But it is the nature of the beast. It's what he's been brought in to do. Is what he's been asked to do, and I'm sure he'll do it. And to be honest, he's better at it than a lot of others I've seen so far this season.
Danny Ward, better than Danny Ward, better than Everson. I mean, when I looked at the half that I saw, he was playing it out to defenders that had players on them, but those players seemed to come to get the ball rather than wait for the ball to come to them, and then a whole player nips in and nicks it off him, which was happening a lot last season. If Manson is passing it, let's say to, I'll mention Vestergaard, the players seem to come and collect the ball rather than just saying, right, it didn't get to me. What was I supposed to do?
There was one point during the game, I don't know if anybody saw it or picked up on it, that there were 2 other Leicester defenders who were behind him when he came out with the ball, because Hull had retreated so far. He was a good 40 yards out of his goal with the ball at his feet, and he'd gone past the 2 centre-halves just looking for someone to pass it to. He's a confident lad. Let's put it that way. And everything I've seen so far, I like about him. And he pinged a couple of longer balls as well that were virtually inch perfect. None of this, see if you can pick someone out in the crowd, Kasper. He's
Kasper could be going back to Celtic, apparently.
Yeah. He's going to go to Anderlecht, I think, by the looks of it. I think that's where he'll go.
Brad, your thoughts?
What, with Kasper?
Yeah.
Look, we've got 5 goalkeepers. His day in the sun at Leicester will be. We will all remember and we'll all be grateful for everything that Casper's helped us achieve over his lifespan at Leicester. I'm sure at some point when he's hung his gloves up, there'll be like a memorial, like a end of season game for him. The little cameo games that they tend to do for players. I'm sure, but go play elsewhere. Go to Rodgers at Celtic if that's where if he's interested in signing you. Go to Anderlecht. Go wherever. He is past the point. For us, it's not like a player we let go when he was 26 and we're wanting to roll back the years and have one last fling with him. He's done with Leicester now. He should be somebody that we talk about as a legend of the club and not somebody who we desperately need back, because you know what, even if we didn't have Ward and Iverson, I wouldn't ask for him back, because Stoichek looks good when he's played and Hermadsson's continuing the Danish trend at Leicester, if you will.
Yeah. I'm going to want to ask you this, Kate. Tom Cannon, if he's brought in, and he obviously wasn't a regular at Everton, but if he's brought in, where does that leave Vardy? And it pushes Daka back down the line.
I think Daka's all but out, honestly, in Enzo's mind. Vardy, I still think is going to be the super sub. He's going to be the last 20 to 30 minutes of a game, maybe some more cup minutes if we have a decent cup run, which isn't looking likely in the Carabao, is it? Yeah, I mean, Cannon's still got a lot to learn. He's only 2021 himself, isn't he? And he's had a decent time at Preston, so he's not necessarily a shoo-in as such, and we've seen that already, that Enzo is prepared to drop you or to push you back or to stagger you a little bit into the team. So we'll just have to see there. But I think Daka's all but out anyway. I think Enzo just doesn't rate him at all, or doesn't see him fitting in. So I think Cannon, Vardy, and Nacho will be the 3.
But Kate, you say there, and you say he's only 2021, and I agree with you. But you then look at players, you get the one coming on like Wayne Rooney, who 2021 was sort of knocking 20 goals in a season, sort of thing. I mean, 2021 isn't young still.
Wayne Rooney is once in a 20-year striker, isn't he? When you think about how he absolutely burst onto the scene. Every time I say burst onto the scene, I think of Mika Richards for some reason. But yeah, he's a once in a 15, 20-year type of striker. But I do get what you're saying. You can have these amazing players that come out and set the world on fire at 18, 19. But then you also have the kids that come out at 18, 19, like Theo Walcott, and end up just not ever cashing in on their potential. So
or Dele Alli.
And we're not going to get the 21-year-old superstar, because we're not that type of club. They're already taken up with their clubs at the minute, and they're never letting go of them for love nor money. So Everton seemed really disappointed. I saw a couple of Everton things on Twitter, some Everton fans saying that they were really disappointed about him being let go. So it's quite a shock, but perhaps because we gave a decent amount of money for him, which is why they ended up taking our bid, really.
I think Everton are just annoyed because they never signed anybody.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I mean, and he's clearly not all is well at Everton, and it may be that he had the opportunity and he pushed for it as well. He was sent out on loan last season. He sees a team that isn't scoring goals and he's still not getting a chance. Maybe him and his agent are thinking, we've got to move on to try and push our career forward.
Connor Cody had a lot to do with it, apparently.
Pardon?
Connor Cody had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I'm sure he's sold the club to him, and he's maybe tipped Enzo off that there's a talent there waiting to be harnessed. I mean, Dyche is going through a tough time. I mean, it was interesting to read what Damari Gray said over the past couple of days about his relationship with Dyche and how it's difficult to you can knuckle down and work hard and play for the shirt, but it's hard to respect someone who doesn't respect you as a person. So I don't think all is well in the camp there. So I think it was probably just a good opportunity. We got the right player at the right time for the right price, and we've bought potential, and hopefully, he gets a chance to show what he can do.
Last question, Brad, before we close it. A little bit of a warning. We're all saying like, "Oh, we're going to be the new Burnley," and look, and all this, and we're going to storm it when we get going. They're not the best of starters of the time back in the Premier League, Burnley. I know they've had 3 tough games, but still, to say that they came up so easily, if you like, and it was easy at the end, wasn't it? They are struggling this season. Played 3, lost 3, bottom of the league.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give the warning signs, and this is, and people are going to hate me, and I hate to say it, but
Well, we
I've
do
always
anyway,
wanted,
so it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Just
So
go for it.
why change the habit of a lifetime, right? So I've always said, when people said to me that the Championship is the most competitive division in all of England, I've always said, yeah, it is. It's one of the most competitive divisions. 3/4 of it is made up of ex-Premier League sides, but I also think it's the most mediocre division, because 70% of all promoted sides last no more than a season in the Premier League, and probably 80% of that go straight back down. And that's the one thing that you have to remember. It's all well and good getting 100 points, 89 points, whatever you come up with. The most recent success, 3 successful teams that have come up and stayed up and done well on their own merits are, until last season, it was us. We came up, had 9 years, look what we'd happened. Brighton and Brentford. Every other team, to my knowledge, someone may correct me and throw another name out there, has gone up, and within a year, maybe 2 at best, come straight back down, because that's the gulf between the Championship and the Premier League. And I don't mean it, I know it sounds disrespectful, but I don't mean it with any disrespect. It just shows you how difficult this division is, because look at Luton as well. They've never been in the Premier League, and now it's a nightmare for them. It's an absolute nightmare for them. Sheffield United, I believe, are only out on out the relegation zone on goal difference with Everton. Otherwise, all 3 promoted sides would be taking up the bottom 3, and that is how it looks more times than not. I mean, why do you reckon Norwich and West Brom both get dubbed the yo-yo clubs?
Yeah.
So
That's true. Kate, I did say that was the last question, but just one more for you, Kate. If we don't go up this season, it's going to be a lot harder for us, isn't it? Is it this season or bust?
No, I don't think so, but I think it's this season or next season. I think you've got a couple of stabs at it to make a really good go of it. And if you don't get up in the first 2 seasons, I think you're going to be struggling, and you could end up doing a Forest and spend 25 years in it.
Don't say that. I've not got,
No, but
I've
you
not
know
got
what I mean.
25 years left in me.
But you can just get sucked into it, and like Brad's just said, it just becomes a very mediocre league, and you've got a lot of teams in there that have been in there for a while. So, but yeah, let's not think about
Just
that.
check
This
my age in
season-
25 years' time. Bloody hell. Yes. That's cheered me up, Kate. Thanks very much for that.
You just asked me if it's shit or bust. It wasn't exactly a positive question, was it?
No, but I'm giving you the chance. I'm being the unpositive one, giving you the chance. I'm trying making you look good.
All right, okay.
That's what it is. Guys, thank you so very much. Craig, we'll come to you first. Thank you so much. You were there on Saturday. You're not unlucky for us still. You're still our lucky mascot. Tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, just get me on Twitter is the easiest one, at Craig Bird. You'll find me, and I shall occasionally drop in a moment of clarity and sense, but don't bank on it.
No. Well, we've been waiting years on the show and it's never happened.
No.
But my wise old Al, thank you so very much. You got a week off this week because we've got no game, and we'll see you back in a week's time. Take care.
Cheers. See you all. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. So Kate.
Did you let Craig go? Did you let Craig go first because he's got to go to his darts match? Did anyone else think he looked like he had a darts outfit on with his jacket or his shirt? Was it just me?
I think that's just you,
I
mate.
didn't notice.
No, I think that was just
All
you.
black and red. He looked like a darts player. Just me, my darts mine.
Maybe,
Sorry.
yeah, maybe it's time at the hockey.
Yes, moving on.
Anyway, that's right.
Are you going to Southampton away, Kate?
No, I'm not. No.
You know,
She had one job.
You know when people
One
lie on
job.
the CV to get a job? I go to all the matches, she says. I go,
Well, hang on. No, I didn't say
no.
that. I didn't say that. I said I go to all of the home games, except had a couple of birthday things. And I go to about 70% of the away. And if Southampton was in the weekend, it would be fine. But I'm not. I've been to Southampton before, and it's a Friday night, and it's on telly.
Yes.
So
All
you
I was
just
going
have
to
weigh
say
up the
was
financial
because
things of this, don't you?
I am going to that one.
Are you?
Yes. I managed to get some tickets on my. My mate got them. He messaged me, and I'm a member, and he's a member. My son was a member, but he isn't anymore. So by the time they get round to him, there's no tickets left. And he messaged me and said, "I can get a ticket." I said, "Well, if you can, I can." So yeah, we're going to go. And of course, my last away match was Southampton on a Friday night. A few seasons ago. And what happened that night? I think we might have won. It pissed down, but we might have won.
Got absolutely drenched, and then watched 9 goals go in.
Yes, and what a night it was. One of those I was there moments. But
Yeah, me too.
You know what? I was going to say I'd go and buy you a gin and tonic, but you're not there now, so I can't. So.
Oh, of course you're going to say that now. That old one.
Problem is, I'm quite grateful because knowing the way you drink, I couldn't have afforded a drink. Should have just laid there on the bar under the tap and just opened it up. Kate, thank you so very, very much.
No worries.
So I would have. It would have been nice to see you, but no, I jest, as you know. But do tell people where they can find you.
Yes, I'm on Twitter as well. My Twitter handle is at Kate Blakey40. That's Blakey Blakey, as in on the buses. So hopefully chat on there.
On the buses, I keep forgetting. Let me write this down here. On the buses.
As if you forget, you'll be calling me Olive again shortly.
I'd forgotten. I got through the whole show without it. Kate, thank you so very much. Hopefully, if you're free next Monday, we'll be back for then post England.
Well,
and looking forward to the said Southampton game.
Absolutely.
Thank
All
you.
right, see you later, guys. Take care.
All the best. Take care.
Cheers, Kate.
Bye. I don't know if Kate has gone or not. She is looking a bit white.
That's all right. As long as she's all white on the night, that's what matters.
Now, a very, very important question before you go, Brad, because I watched a bit of it and then I didn't stick with it. How did England get on in the T20 third match?
They lost by 74 runs.
74. Wow.
Yes.
You know, there's nothing you can say about the England cricket team. If you're going to lose by a huge score.
Well, yeah, I mean, they thrashed them the other 2 games, so it's only fair we let the Kiwis have one. They get bullied by Australia enough, so, you know.
Oh, were we 2-0 up?
Yeah, I think 2-1 now, yeah, so, yeah.
What is the best of 3?
I don't know if it's a 4 or 5 match series, because, it must...
And it only seems to happen in cricket, but why do they have 4-match series? Because it's going to end up a draw.
Yeah, well, that's the scary one, isn't it? But again, we've seen it in a certain Ashes series. You can have 5 and one gets rained out, so you don't get results anyway. So I don't know. They're all really weird. It's like flying all the way over to West Indies and having a one-off test. Why? Why not have 3?
Yeah,
it makes no sense.
To go to and have a few days out there on the beach.
Well, yeah, I suppose they're not bothered, are they? Really? But yeah, it's a strange one.
Brad, stay on the line afterwards because I want to have a quick.
No, you can't keep me. You can't make me.
I can. You get down in your cellar. Get down.
No,
You're
yes, boss.
out. You know.
Yes, boss.
But do tell in the meantime where people can find you.
Well, you will find me here more often than not because Chris can't get rid of me. The restraining order doesn't come through. But you'll also find me on our sister channel, LCID TV 2, which hopefully I'm talking to someone to get on as a guest. Hopefully this week there will be a show on there starting the women's football with Leicester City Women's, talking their transfer roundup. So go and check me out on that channel and give me some love on there with a subscribe and like. You can follow me on Twitter at Fulltime Focus. And if you really want to stalk me, you can probably find me on Facebook, but you need to have my last name for that. So that's it. Yeah, that's where you'll find me.
He is a stalker. In fact, Brad does have a stalker, but you can't tell because he only shows him from the neck upwards. Boom, boom. Brad, on that note, I will speak to you in a second. Take care, buddy, and thanks very much.
Take care, everybody. Take care, mate.
Cheers. So that's it. We're off. We're back on Thursday with Rob's show. Looking forward to that. And I just want to mention this again, guys, before I go totally. One of our own, Dave. You all know Dave can't make it tonight. He is doing the Jeff Stelling's March for Men on the 17th of September. It's for prostate cancer. You can see his Just Giving page there. It is very, very easy to click a button and make a donation. It's a lot harder to walk 26.2 miles, which is the length of a marathon. So he is collecting, obviously, for prostate cancer care. 1 in 8 men suffer from it. You can see the link there, justgiving.com/fundraising/ David Smith, Jeff Stelling March. Please get over there. No matter how little you can do, it doesn't really matter. He's up to, I think, to 50% of his target. It wasn't exactly a huge target, but it's a lot easier to click than it is to actually do it. So please get over there and give him your support. It's been brilliant. Thank you so very much. Thank you to Craig. Thank you to Brad, and thank you to Kate as well for coming on. Thank you to everybody that was in the chat. Like I say, we're back on the Thursday, and then we'll be back for this show this time next week. I've been Chris. This has been LTID TV. This is Arnie. Good night.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You'd better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.